welcome back, collective. Welcome back. And today I am joined with Antuonette Patterson. And I don't know where to start because we had a conversation just before we started that was the reason why I asked her to be here. But Antoinette, I'm going to give you her bio first. So, Antoinette has been married for 14 years to an Air Force tech sergeant, soon to be master sergeant. They have two children, and she's also, congratulations on that, because a lot of people don't make it there. So, that is a big deal. They have two children, and Antoinette is the owner of Blessed Hands for Beauty custom wigs. She's been making wigs for about 10 years, and it started after they were stationed in New Mexico, where she was a kitchen stylist who served the women on base with a variety of hairstyles from braids to sew ins and silk presses for their natural hair. So, welcome,
Thank you.
Antoinette.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, I'm glad to have you here. And
Yeah.
I asked Antoinette here because I bought some well, I know Antoinette because when my family was stationed in El Paso and they were in New Mexico, I would buy wigs from her. And I don't even know how I came across probably Facebook, probably one of the
Mhm.
wives groups
Huh.
they were talking about because in El Paso, like, it's literally the just like I'm sure you were in Alamogordo. Were you all in, like,
Mhm.
Alamogordo? And I think that was like an hour and a half from El Paso, so instead of waiting,
Mhm.
I would
Yes.
drive to it was the craziest drive on that. It was so barren.
Tumbleweed.
Literally tumbleweed, literally. But I would drive there to pick my units up, and she really did have a salon in her house, and it was a
Oh,
your
goodness.
husband was helping you at that time, right?
Mhm.
He was like she had a whole thing, but Antoinette stepped away, and she was very honest about the reason that she was stepping away. Well, before you stepped away, your posts had kinda changed on social media.
Mhm.
Like, they were like I'm like, "Oh, she is bringing the word." Like, and I love to study the Bible, so Antoinette would say something, and she wasn't just talking, she would post scripture behind it. Like, she would post the
Mhm.
scripture, and then she would give I don't even know if you realize you were giving, like, a whole message. Like, you were almost I felt like it was a Bible study for me, and I was like, "Oh, what's going on here?"
Yeah. Yeah.
And then when she stepped away, and I was shocked because she had
Mhm.
a whole Facebook group, the VIP face
Praise the
yeah,
Lord. Mhm.
VIP queens, and I'll link all of that in the bio too, cause and I'll also I can vouch for Antoinette. I vouch for her every day, all day, cause I'm a bob girl, and she had me in a middle part bob, and I wasn't I'm a bang girl, a swoop bang, but I had the middle part listen. And this was back before the whole melting thing. Do you it was back before then, but it was so seamless. You didn't even have to all of that wasn't necessary, but so, she even taught me how to size my own she would get on Facebook and do videos of how to do the
Mhm.
perfect sizing, literally, and the best customer service, like, you would get your package, and she always threw extra in there, like lashes, and my daughter would be like, "Did you get some lashes this time?" Because I don't wear them. She was like, "Where did you get lashes?" Lashes, always extras in there. Anyway, to get back to it, Antoinette stepped away because God told her to, right? Like, do you wanna talk about that a little bit?
So, I believed it was like a whisper
Mhm.
almost because everything around me was so loud. So I didn't know whether to trust it at first. Um, yeah, it was like, I need you to lay it down. And I was just like, I don't know. I went viral on TikTok and I started teaching there and I had all these new customers and things were going so well. I was just like, I don't know if I'm like, God, is this you telling me to lay it down? And sure enough, I was like, okay, I'm just going to do it. Whether, I pray that, it's him telling me to do it. And, so I, of course, made the announcement and told everyone, I'll be closing down. I'm not sure if I'm coming back or not. And I pretty much closed up shop. And not long after that, my husband got sick, and then we lost his father. And so I was like,
It's
this had to have been God because I needed to be present
yeah,
for my husband. That was a lot for him, especially. So yeah, I believe that I was being obedient
yeah.
still kind of in the season of, you know, well, was I completely obedient, or, did he tell me to lay it down for a few months? Just kind of
Yeah,
going through that. Here we are.
yeah, yeah. That's huge, and it was a so for you, it was a whisper
Hmm.
because everything else was so loud.
Yes.
Did you go through now you remember how Gideon was testing God, like, "I don't know if this is really you."
Need you to put the
Right, did you?
need you to
Right, "Imma curl this wig, I need you to uncurl it. If you guys, you gonna
Mhm.
after I curl
Need
it,
all these
Yeah.
signs. Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, wow, and and then you noticed that once you stepped away, that things in your life started to change, and it started to make
Mhm.
sense why God had you
Mhm.
step away, right?
Mhm.
And a lot of people, I think that when we say step away, I really do wanna stress the importance of what she was stepping away from because we spoke about this offline, like, people often think that military families are rolling in the dough, and that's just not the case, like, it's not the case. So anytime someone can find something for themselves that they can
Mhm.
do, that they love, that brings in extra income to the family, it's a big deal, and then
Mhm.
also something that travels with you. So no matter
Mhm.
where y'all went, no matter where you were stationed, your business went with you,
Mhm.
right? So I know that when you kept hearing God say, "Step," I can imagine that when you kept hearing God say, "Step away," I know you was like, yeah, wow, what does that look like?" Like, "What do you mean?"
Yeah.
You know?
It was scary because it was like, well, what are we gonna do? And um, because my business had become a pivotal part of, financially for our
Yeah,
family. We had bought a home and
yeah,
and the just buying a home period and everything that comes with that, it was just like,
yeah,
well, are you sure? Like, I'm like, is this you, God? Because I'm
yeah,
scared. Like, if I
yeah,
could be honest, I'm afraid. I'm
me too.
terrified, And it was like I'm still in the season where it's like, just trust me. It'll make sense later. It may not make sense now, but just trust me. And I'm still walking through that where I'm like, I have a million questions, God. I need to know, well, why does it look like this? And, just running through the moments of doubt and things like that because I did open again and it's not what it was. And
Mhm,
so on one hand, I'm like, this is such a blessing because now I can be more balanced
mhm,
because before I wasn't balanced at all. It was like my business was my baby and a baby doesn't walk. You have to feed them, like all of these things. Yeah, you have to. And so I hadn't given my baby legs yet,
mhm,
to begin to walk on its own. I was still doing everything in my business. And I had a problem with control. I had to have my hands in everything in my business because who else was going to do it? Yeah. So here we are, though.
yeah. Yeah. Now, oftentimes, I know for me personally, when I've found myself in those seasons, sometimes I feel like it takes me back to, how when you've been walking with God and you feel like, okay, I'm a little bit more mature, you know?
Hmm.
Sometimes we have those seasons where it's almost like he takes us back to infancy. And sometimes
Yes.
I have to say, I need you to just step by step, like for this
Hmm.
specific situation, I need to hear from you. I need to see
Hmm.
something because I feel like I don't know if this is what I should be doing. And do
Hmm.
you feel that he shows up for you also, like, in those small ways? I felt like even now, I feel like daily I get a confirmation, like, this is the right
Hmm.
you are on the right track.
Yes. I have felt those moments, and then, um, but being in that infancy for me, it's like I need constant reassurance from him.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I'm starting over. It's like I'm unlearning who I thought he was, and
Mm,
now I'm learning again. Okay, the different ways that he loves me, and in that, it's come with discipline, which I'm not very good. I'm not very good with discipline. For some reason. So growing up, I was the type of child that would kind of try to anticipate what needed to be done so that I wouldn't get in trouble.
mhm.
So that's the trauma response for me,
Yes,
people
it is.
pleasing.
Yes, it
and trying to read the room so that I could be the one to fix things before they're
every
broken.
Yep,
And so, yeah, having that problem with control. And so, so even in that, it's like I have moments where God is like, you don't have to do that anymore. And
mhm,
I don't know how to navigate that. So I'm learning in this season, like you don't need to be in control. It's gonna be okay. You are safe, So
learning. One of the things that and this one a recent discovery for me because my children are now young adults and they're
mhm,
navigating adulthood, and I think that I'm gonna get emotional. Oh, one of the things that, God has been dealing with me is that I'm parenting them also from my own trauma, right? Like, I'm trying
mhm,
for them what I did not have. Well,
mhm,
also, God has been telling me that I need to move out of the way so that they can see who He is.
mhm,
I was trying to be by trying to be everything to them, I had kinda set myself up as their God, and it was never
mhm, mhm,
intended to be that way, right? Because they have in the same way I learned to go to God despite the trauma that I experienced in my childhood, they don't have that same trauma, but they still have to
mhm,
learn how to go to God instead of mommy or dad, they have to be able to go to God on their own, and I have to move out of the way so that they don't come to me for everything, that they do learn how to rely fully on God, because it's a
yes,
process, it's a process. I always say, "I love my husband, he is everything to me, but if he left tomorrow, I know that I'm okay because my hope and my faith and my trust is in God." And
yes,
it took me like, when I say I had to literally go through hell to get to that point, like, I feel like
mhm,
has walked with me through so much that I don't
mhm,
depend on people. I've learned not to
mhm,
rely on people. Do you know what
mhm,
I'm saying? For my sustenance, right? Like, I know that
yes,
God is my source, but it's a process, and I have to move out of the way to
mhm,
allow my children to get to that place where they rely on. Does that make sense?
yes. I'm in that process right now. It's
Teaching
it's
y'all
it's rough. It's some rough waters.
look, you raise your kids, you teach them about God, you take them to church, but
Mhm,
we still are their representation of God. We
mhm,
gotta be willing to hand these kids back over. And for me,
yes,
that's been the hardest part because 'cause I'm still
mhm,
like, our oldest is 25, our youngest is 13, and we have a grandchild. I still have locations. Before I go to bed, I need to know where everybody is. And if
mhm,
everybody is not where they should be, I don't sleep anyway, I don't sleep
mhm,
good anyway, but I can be up all night making sure that
mhm,
they get to where they need to be, and that's crazy because we have 2 kids in the military. One of my sons is in Alaska with
mhm,
his wife. Another one is in Oklahoma. He was in Dallas one weekend, partying with his friends. It's 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm on Life 360, and I'm calling him like, "Are you" he was like, "Mommy, no." I'm like, "Are you safe?" He's like, "Mommy, go to bed. Stop calling me, stop texting me, lady." It's hard, but
yeah,
like I say, if God can if He can love us so much that He would give His Son for us, if He can give us permissive will to do as we should, I can release my kids back to Him. Like, they're His kids, they can have Him, right?
yes,
How has your
amen,
family responded to the changes? Because oftentimes I know that when we go through like we shift, right? Like when we
mhm,
change, the culture in our families change, everything changes when we
mhm.
change. So how has your family adjusted?
I think they're still adjusting because I'm kind of becoming a helicopter a little bit where I'm like, "What do you need? What do you need? What do you need?" I'm hopping in and stuff, but before I was so busy that, um, they would have to come to me or I would just that checking in wasn't a thing. It wasn't as much as it is now, and so they kinda look like, "We're good."
Yeah.
And I'm like, because I have teenagers now.
Oh my goodness.
My husband, he's enjoying it because now it's like it's all about him. I'm spending more time with him and things like that. And our marriage has gotten so much better in terms of just connecting more because I'm able to be more present. And so I'm enjoying this season. It's like we're becoming best friends again. And, it's not the business that is taking over having all my attention because, I would be I would wake up in the middle of the night to answer a message from a
You would.
customer or, I would do, you know, just at their beck and call, like,
Yeah.
all the time, and so he's like, "You need to get some sleep," but I
Yeah.
wasn't listening. It was like I felt like I needed to do these things. If I didn't do this, it was gonna be bad. It was like I was always thinking about, what bad was gonna happen or what, just fearful, too fearful, and, yeah, now I'm trying to just relearn and I guess navigate the world of balance because
Yeah,
I've been imbalanced for so long.
for so
Yeah,
long. So how are your, because you had, and if I'm wrong or if you don't want to talk about this, you had issue, didn't you develop carpal tunnel from the sewing? Like, did you have an issue with
I
your hand?
did. And that's thank you, God. So I had my health declines tremendously even before I started making the wigs. I used to have like really bad swelling. My body would break down. I remember doing weddings and the next day I was in the hospital, like
Yeah,
because I had done so much. And I have not had any of those issues like since. Yeah, my health has gone up. It's just so much better now. Like I needed I
rest.
think my body was really telling me, like, "You cannot do this for another 10 years, like, it's not possible." So, my health is so much better now. It really is.
Good, good. So the slower pace, I
Mhm,
often find that what we think, I was in this past Monday at I'm in a missions ministry at my church, and we have a meeting every Monday. And that
mhm,
study was on Gideon and his story, and we had a guest speaker come in. And one of the things that he said was how God has always been able to take what we think as little and make it more than enough.
mhm,
Right? So we may think that, like, well, my income is cut or this, but you
mhm,
literally is making it more
mhm,
than enough, right?
mhm,
Like you said, you don't have the volume that you had before, but your quality of life is so much better. Like, you can
mhm.
spend time with your kids, and you still have customers, because every
Yes.
time I go on the site, what I want ready to ship is sold out. So, you still have customers, but you don't have the volume that you had, because you
Mhm.
feel like God has made it enough. Like, that abundant
Yes.
provision is still there, and that's fueled by our obedience, right? Like,
Mhm,
our obedience fuels the abundance. Like, as
mhm,
we are obedient to Him, He provides. I know that in my own life, people always ask us, how did y'all manage with 6 kids? My husband was in the military, and for maybe 6 or 7 years, I stayed home because it
mhm.
was cheaper to stay home than pay for before
Yes.
care and aftercare for all of the kids? Anything I made it would've been redundant, you know?
Mhm,
So, everybody was like, "How did y'all do it?" And I was like, "It was God." Like, we just tried to be
mhm,
faithful over what we had, and somehow we always had more than enough. Like, I
mhm,
truly feel like that. Even, like, now in life, we have 2 different households that we're supporting because
mhm,
I work in Austin, so, we have an apartment there, but it's like
mhm.
He's still working. He's still
Supp
working. He's still providing. We spoke about this before, how we become burnt out because we become so many things to other people, and we do neglect ourselves. I was the first
Mhm,
person who I would take from. I would sacrifice myself before I
mhm,
allow my kids or my husband or my family to go without. And that
mhm,
even it extended to extended family. And one of the first things that I had to do was change my relationship even with my siblings, right? Because
mhm,
we're siblings. Like, I should have never been set up to be your parent.
mhm,
I'm your sibling.
mhm,
I'm not old enough to
mhm,
give birth to any of them. So I had to
mhm,
set realistic expectations with them. Like,
mhm,
you can't depend on me in that way. I have my own family?
mhm,
So for me, it started with my extended family. And then it started with the people closer to us. And it wasn't always finances. Sometimes it was emotional. And
mhm.
like, I can't get into you emotionally like that anymore.
Mhm.
I'm not
Yes.
available in that way.
Mhm.
Have you, and it's is boundaries, and setting them
Mhm.
and sticking with them can be difficult. Have you experienced that?
Yes, I would try to be. Jesus Jr.
Jesus.
to family and friends,
Yeah.
in a way. I didn't know that that's what it was,
Yeah.
but I felt like my business provided everything that I needed to be what everybody needed me to be financially and capacity wise because um handling a business by yourself, it was like I was at peak. Like I was performing at max. So if anybody needed me, I had so much capacity because of what God had given me for my business
Yeah.
that it's like, yeah, I can do what do you need? What do you need? What do you need? What do you need? And um just placing myself as an idol in people's lives so that when they did have a need, I'm like, you got it. I'll stop what I'm doing, this and that, or just putting myself in the wrong place.
Yeah.
In the wrong place. Yeah. And my capacity was just so high that I was able to do it, but that doesn't mean I was supposed to. And now I don't have as much capacity. It's like that was taken away from me. And so it's harder to be all of those things because now I get anxious.
Yeah.
And it's like all of that energy needs somewhere to go. And so I'm learning the scripture, cast your cares
Mm.
upon him for he cares for you. And so in doing that, it's like, okay, I'm having to start over with so many things. Like you said, I love what you said, infancy. Like I'm in the infant stages with God and just learning to walk with him and trust him and then allow other people to do the same pretty much,
Yeah. It's
instead
it's
of
up
trying
to
to take
you.
over.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, we do set ourselves up as idols,
Mhm.
and I do think I know for me, it was a trauma response. It was the
Mhm.
little girl in me who grew up with so little. Do you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Who grew up with so little love and who just became performative or
Mhm.
who just wanted people, people pleasing, like,
Yep.
like not wanting people to be angry with you or just wanting to
Yes.
make everybody happy. But I always feel like I say all of the time that pleasing other people almost cost me my life and my
Yes.
sanity. You
Yes.
know what I'm saying? Like, it literally almost cost me because I was sick, like, physically, I was
Mhm.
sick. I have a autoimmune disease that's triggered by stress. So,
Mhm.
like, I was inflammation, I was overweight, I was on, like, 4 or 5 different medications,
Mhm.
and the first thing for me and like you said, God was saying, "This you can't keep doing this," or how long do I have to I think the first thing he did was he started to show me people. He started to
Mhm.
show me people, and it wasn't anything new. It was things that I had seen all of but suddenly
Mhm.
it became, "Why are you accepting this? This is not what
Mhm.
I have for you." So it didn't matter if it was since it was my sibling, you start to see people in a different way. Like, I felt
Mhm.
like once he pressed upon me the importance of first, like you said, seeking him and then also looking to him for my needs and not other people.
Mhm.
People around me started to be revealed. Like, you can see
Mhm.
selfishness, or you can see the bitterness, or you can see even how people think that you owe them stuff. Like, I would feel
Mhm.
guilty for having a good life because people
Mhm.
around me didn't have it, so I
Mhm.
felt like, it's like there was shame in living well, which
Mhm.
it shouldn't, or I wanted them to have what I have, or I
Mhm.
wanted to downplay what I had. So, and that's not like, that's crazy, right? Like, because,
Yes.
and I and I'm rambling a little bit, but I
No.
had to get to a point where I had to tell my siblings, like, we work hard. Like, we
Mhm.
work hard, we are good stewards, and I don't owe you anything. I don't
Mhm.
owe anybody anything. You don't I'm not your bank. I don't have to provide these things for you. Like, it was
Mhm.
insane, right?
Mhm.
But as I started to see people, it made me angry a little bit because I
Mhm.
felt used, but then God had to tap me on my shoulder and was like, "No, no, you allowed this. Because you allowed it, you have to change it." And it made me unpopular. I'm still unpopular. I'm a lot of things, and that's uncomfortable for me. It's
Mhm.
uncomfortable
Yeah.
for me to be the bad guy. It's very uncomfortable, if being the good guy for you means that I overextend and exhaust and bankrupt myself spiritually and physically, that's too expensive for me. Like, I can't
Mhm.
afford that. I can't afford to go back there because I
Mhm.
was so sick. And you don't even realize it until you start
Mhm.
doing the work. So for me, once I
Mhm.
start pulling back from people and once I started to exert more of that attention, once I started to really get into my word, and once I really allow God and my therapist help me heal the little girl in me that was
Mhm.
so hurt, you know what I'm saying? Like, once then did I start to really my life really started to change. I feel like
Mhm.
it really took off in ways that it had not before. Do you know what I'm
Mhm. Yes. I feel like I'm in that. What I believe he was showing me was my intent, like the intent of my heart
Mm,
was to take his place in people's lives. And so he had to show me, like, I need to work on your heart because you're doing these things out of fear. You're doing these things because you don't want to be looked at a certain way. You don't want people mad at you and all of
yes,
these things, but you can't please them.
right. You'll never be
It's
able.
not going to happen. Mm-mm.
Wow.
So, yep, he's working on me.
This is like a new, you are literally allowing God to create a new space for you everywhere, right? A new space for you in terms of your business, in terms of your
Hmm.
relationship with your families, and even in terms of your relationship with yourself, right?
Hmm.
I feel like every day I'm asking God for grace, and I'm asking
Yes.
God to show me how to extend grace to myself because I didn't even know how to
Hmm.
give myself grace. Like, I
Hmm.
didn't even know how to be gentle with I was not gentle with myself. Like, I didn't
Hmm.
even know what that looked like. Like, I had
Hmm.
to have God show me, "What does this look like in your way? Like, how am I supposed to extend grace to
Hmm.
myself?" Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes, I feel
Like,
like
if
I'm
it is
there.
yeah, and it really does have you question your intentions, like, why was I doing
Hmm.
and was it
Hmm.
from where was it coming from? Was it a good place? It
Yes.
may not have intentionally been a bad space, but it was a negative space because it was coming from lack or fear or our own
Hmm.
responses.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Yeah, what would you say to someone who may be hearing God and isn't sure that it's God that they're hearing?
I would say taste and see
Mm,
that the Lord is good.
mm,
You got to try him and see.
for yourself.
Try him and see, and just be patient. Be patient. That was one of the things he told me. He said, submit to your husband.
Mhm,
Be patient. Slow down
mhm.
and be quiet
Yeah.
because I can talk.
Yes. It was like, I need you to
I can talk.
just zip it for a little bit.
Yeah, just zip it so that I can hear and see more than because everything else being so loud around me, it drowned out truth
Mm,
a little bit. And so being quiet is I'm still learning. It is a process, but being quiet is allowing me to see more and to hear more and to slow down. And he still has to remind me. I remember I prayed one morning and it was like, God, just help me to slow down. Help me to slow down. And I was driving and I got pulled over.
wow.
And the police officer, he said, he was like, "Did you know you were going this fast?" And I was like, "I didn't think I was going that fast." And he said, "Just slow down." And he let me go. And I was like, "Okay, God, thank you."
Believe it.
Like, thank you for the reminder. And it didn't look the way I thought it would look, but that was enough to get my attention. Like, just slow
Yeah,
down, daughter. Slow down. You still
yeah,
moving too fast.
yeah,
So
yeah. How comfortable are you in the quiet, like, in the stillness? Like, how comfortable are you?
I'm not comfortable
Um,
because I'm so used to chaos. I'm so used to organized chaos. And by you commended me on my customer service and things like that. Um, Running a business is chaotic, and I was functioning in that. And so having to slow down and be quiet, I believe God gave me things that I would think were impossible because that seems impossible to me. It seemed impossible to slow down. It seemed impossible to be quiet. It seemed impossible to submit to my husband. I was making more money than him.
Yeah,
And so it was just like we come back a little bit because I
yeah,
believe God wants me to experience softness
yes,
because
yes.
I've been a hard person to be able to handle the things that I've been able to handle. And so, yeah, those things seemed impossible for me to do. And so going through the process of being obedient, it definitely has felt impossible some days. And so I'm like, this is why I need him. This is why he's showing me like can't do it without me. So let's do it together. So
Wow, I love that. I love that. So for me, it was the opposite because I
mhm,
love the quiet. Like I
mhm,
being by myself, just on my drive, like when I commute, I have a 3-hour
mhm,
commute on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So that time for me is I only
mhm,
maybe only get an hour of it because my husband called at some point and we stay on the phone for a long time. But
mhm,
usually I can get an hour of just complete silence, you know?
mhm,
So for me, God was telling me, it's time for you I need you to expand.
mhm,
And I need you to show people.
mhm, mhm,
For me, it was, I need you to show people that the same thing I did for you, I can
mhm,
do for them.
mhm,
His whole thing was it's time to for me, it was time for me to move from the back,
mhm,
front. And I was like, "Oh, I'm such a good support person. Are you sure?" Like, like
mhm,
I'm a team player, I'm the support person.
mhm,
And I'm not comfortable being out front, I'm not
mhm,
comfortable, I'm better I feel like I'm better when I can play, like, the background. God is
mhm,
like, "It's time for you to move
mhm.
forward." Sorry.
You got me teary-eyed.
I'm sorry, I'm sorry. But he
Yeah.
does things and he stretches us to make us
Mhm,
uncomfortable,
mhm.
to accomplish his will for our lives.
Yes.
But so often we get caught up into me and my life and what I wanna do when ultimately, you know our life is in ours. I'm so
Mhm.
sorry. I did not mean to go here. I'm so sorry.
Yes. No, ma'am.
Face all red now. But our life is not our own, and we are
Mhm,
put here to accomplish things, you know? And when we
mhm,
are obedient and when we do lean into it, we are stretched and we are pushed.
mhm,
And, it's for our good, but ultimately it's for the greater good. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I wanted to have you here because when you like everything that you said from everything being so loud around you and God's voice
mhm,
quiet. And then God
mhm,
telling you it's time for you to submit to your husband. And then you in a
mhm,
position where you made more than your
mhm,
husband. And he's saying, it's time to,
mhm,
it's time to take it down a
mhm,
little bit. And my pastor once said that God is going to tell us to do something. It'll be completely different than something we would ever do, right? Like, it's
mhm,
completely different. Oftentimes, that's how we know when it's God, because in your flesh, you wouldn't do it, right? Like,
mhm,
in your flesh, you'd be like, "I'm not about to do that." Like, "What? Who?" "Me? No, ma'am." He does that. He says things, and he
mhm,
calls our attention in ways where we would be like, "Now, where did that come from?" It's like, "Yeah, it's
mhm,
me. I'm here. I've been here."
mhm.
It's me, I've been telling you, So, I love it. I love it so much. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you for
You
just being I know you were nervous to come,
yes.
but I knew that women need to hear this because we
Mhm.
work ourselves to exhaustion, and we think
Yes.
that we're doing it for ourselves and for our
Mhm,
families, and oftentimes we're running away from
mhm.
us. We're running away. We're not really doing what we should be doing, right?
Yes.
We're doing busy work. We're keeping
Busy work.
ourselves distracted
Mhm,
so that we don't
mhm,
have to do what God is requiring for us to do with
mhm,
our life.
mhm.
Wow. So I do wanna, we are at time, Antoinette, and I wanna thank you for being here. And
Thank you for having me.
of course, do you have any, like, final if you could speak to Antoinette 4 years
Mm,
ago or a Antoinette? Like, if somebody who's where you were 4 years ago, what would you say to them?
I would say the best decision that you could make is to step down. And you're not stepping down to make yourself smaller, but to humble yourself before God and let Him really work on healing the parts of you that you didn't know needed healing. And it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt, but just be patient knowing that you'll come out on the other side. So,
That's good. That's good because that's the soft life, right? Like, the
mhm,
soft life for me, my soft life is in Christ. Like, that's the soft
mhm,
life. Like, having
mhm,
someone to cast your cares on, that's the
mhm,
soft life. Like, being comfortable and being trusting and knowing that no matter where I go, he is there. Like, he's gone up before me to prepare a place for me. So that's the soft life. Like, I think sometimes
yes,
people have it twisted like, "Oh, well, no, no, no." The soft life is when you can
mhm,
say, "I serve a God
mhm,
that's gonna make sure I'm good." That's the soft. You know what I'm saying? Life and in that submission too, like, in submitting, like you said, learning to submit to your partner as he submits to Christ, that's huge. That is huge.
mhm,
That's huge. And that's where he meets us. That's where
yeah,
he meets us in our obedience, you know? So, I'm so, again, I'm proud of you, and I'm so confident, and I truly believe the way that you have created a community, like, I just know that God has something. Your story is powerful. Like, you're even from someone who's just been following you on social and then having been a customer, your story is powerful, and I can't wait to hear more of it, and I can't wait to see what else God is doing in your life
mhm.
because, ma'am, you got it, and you're on the right
Yes,
track.
ma'am.
So
Thank you
thank
so
you.
much.
All right,
Thank you.
collective. That's it for this episode. I will put Antoinette's. You want me to put your information down? I know I want to. I
Yeah,
would love
that's
to
fine.
share you with the people, share my
Yes,
plug with the people.
yes, ma'am. Thank you, thank you.
I'll put the website and the socials down so that you can reach Antoinette. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. What did you think of this episode? I cannot wait to hear from you all. And I love you, collective. Bye.